1, 2, check 1, 2.
Getting you.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh no.
Okay, this 1, 2, check 1, 2.
Okay, now?
You're Brenda.
All right, you can hear me now?
we'll have to roll with that for now, I guess, but just be aware that you're going to be mic'd and hot at all times during breaks.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Until I figure out.
I can turn it off if I turn it off
You can turn it off, yeah.
during those breaks.
I could disconnect here.
Okay.
There goes all my spare.
Okay, there we go.
Chicken and stuffed chickens.
Whole chickens, right? 48 cents a pound.
They have to be quiet. And good morning. It is Thursday, September 26th, and we are doing the local dish for you today. We do this every other month with Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly and Bill Leisses. And today I have a really fun program, I think, that you'll want to tune into. You can listen to us on AM 1430 WBEV, or you can also tune in to dailydodge.com. Check us out on the video page, and you can watch because we are going back to school and going to cooking school. So the first half hour of the program from 9:30 until 10, we are going to be showing you creative ways that you can use a box of crayons and a tube of glue. And then from 10 until 11, Bill Leisses will be in to share some cooking tips as far as chopping, slicing, dicing vegetables, chicken, how to remove that silver part from tenderloin. So you'll want to stay tuned to watch all the action because Thomas and John will be going through the paces of learning how to do each one of those components. If it's your anniversary, for years you've been promising your wife that someday you'd adorn her in rubies and garnets, but it's taking another man to actually do it. What will he do to your marriage? Well, he'll stir your emotions and reignite the passion. In fact, he'll be able to express love for your wife in a way that you can't. He's your florist, and he's right down the street at Jean's Beaver Floral. He'll create the most beautiful bouquet of ruby roses and garnet-colored lilies. They'll take your wife's breath away. She'll say you can be quite romantic. Thanks to your florist, at least you won't be a hopeless one. Call Jean's Beaver Floral at 885-3365 and let them create something unique for your next anniversary or your special occasion. Jean's Beaver Floral, experts in the art of expression. A member of the Society of American Florists, Jean's Beaver Floral, located at 125 North Spring Street, and the floral department at Recheck's Food Pride and Yankees Piggly Wiggly. Visit their website, jeansbeaverfloral.com. And the story goes like this. A sewing enthusiast has so many projects and so little time. Things come to a screeching halt when tensions are off, threads are in a tangle, needles are breaking, and fabric is not feeding or even stitches are skipping. Does this happen to you? Well, having that properly maintained sewing machine is vital. It makes the sewing process that much more enjoyable. So if your sewing machine needs attention, make the ultimate decision and call Daniel at Ultimate Sewing Machine Repair in Fox Lake. He'll keep you in stitches. Daniel is trained in all makes and models, and he provides excellent customer service. Call Ultimate Sewing Machine Repair at 920-928-AULT. That's 928-2858. And bizarre holidays today. It's Johnny Appleseed Day, Dumpling Day, Shamu the Whale Day, and Pancake Day. We need to take a quick break, but I'll be back in just a few minutes, and shortly we will be sharing our crayon creations. And welcome back to Local Dish. We are doing a back-to-school cooking school class for you today. And I gave both Thomas and John a box of crayons and some glue and asked them to get creative with making a Crayola project. While I was making my project, I found that I had a lot of leftover little bits of crayon. And so if you find at home that you've got old crayons, the kids are back to school now, and of course you always have to get a new box of crayons, you can make your own melted crayon molds. So what you want to do is, first of all, if you have maybe the points are bent off, you want an X-Acto knife, a cutting board, and silicone molds. And so you just cut with the X-Acto knife all the way through the paper. That allows you to easily peel off the paper wrapper. Then you break these crayons into smaller pieces. You put that in your silicone mold, and you bake this. You preheat your oven to 220, and what you want to do is overfill the mold. When I got the instructions, it said to do like 1 or 2 layers. This particular mold isn't very deep, so the first attempts that I made were rather thin. But the kids can color with these different shapes. You could get a star shape and make those for Christmas time. You could use their favorite colors. You could poke a hole in, put a toothpick in as it's baking, and you'd have the hole, and you can string it as a Christmas ornament. So if you fill that like over the top, what you will find is once they're done baking, they're quite a bit thicker than my first attempt. And again, you can do patriotic colors, you can do fun summer colors, you can do the kids' favorite colors. You bake those in a 220 oven for 20 minutes. Then you need to let them cool for about 30 minutes, and then you can remove them. They just pop right out of the mold, and you're good to go so that they can use them for coloring pictures with different shapes, and it's a good way to utilize those old crayons. We need to take another quick break. When we come back, Thomas and John will be joining me, and we'll be showing you our Crayola projects. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to Local Dish. Joining me right now is Thomas Rayfeld and John Kraft. These are the faces of the voices that you hear on break time, and they are going to be with us for the duration of Local Dish. And as I mentioned before, I had given each of us a box of crayons and a tube of glue, and we were all to make a Crayola creation. And John Kraft, I'm going to start with you because joining us today is this lovely alligator. I think that's so awesome. Tell us about it.
Well, it put up quite a fight when I tried to catch it. But actually, it's a combination of sturgeon, alligator, with a touch of bass.
Okay.
As you can see. I still don't know what the gender is, so I've named it Pat.
Okay, because
So,
that can go either
that
way.
can go either way. That's Pat,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Now,
Is there anything you want to ask me?
yes. Did the alligator come with the crayons already in there, or did you use your box of crayons?
I used my box of crayons.
Okay. All
What I
right.
did, what this is we have lots of box elder trees.
Okay.
And a lot of old branches fall off every once in a while. So this branch fell off, and it's basically the same look as it was when it fell off. I didn't do a lot of altering to it, except a little bit of sanding. And then I used every color of crayon in that box to just give it all multicolors. And then I took the edges or the ends of the crayon and I stuck them in these pock holes on the
Because those
side.
were already there. You
There-
didn't
yeah,
have to
I
do
didn't
any
have to do
drilling
anything
or
of that.
anything?
And used, of course, the red crayon for the bottom of the mouth there. And I used Orbit gum.
Oh, for the
teeth.
teeth. Okay.
I tried to get them upright, but it wouldn't stay when I glued the piece of gum to the bottom of his mouth. So I had to do it sideways. So
That's
it looks like he
amazing.
has a molar, and it's in.
And
That's about it.
will you take this up north with you, or where are you going to showcase and display this? Or are you going to sell it?
Yeah. Well, I'm
you
going
could probably sell it as
True.
art.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take it to the zoo.
Oh, to the zoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're going to go to a baseball game.
Oh,
Also.
all right. Thomas, tell us about your creation.
Well, I did not know you were going to be melting crayons, but I knew right when you gave me crayons, I wanted fire. I wanted to melt them in some way. So I
Okay.
found an old muffin tin, and I just started breaking crayons and putting them in the tin, and then just putting them in the oven, melted them down, let them cool, popped them out. I was like, oh, this looks cool. I didn't know what I was going to do with all these discs. And then I was in Waupun for Volkfest, and I was at a garage sale, and I was looking at old records of Joe Maphis, and I saw this weird little tree thing, and I thought, perfect, I'll just glue all these crayon discs on the tree. And that's exactly what I
And
did.
it makes a beautiful sculpture any season of
gorgeous.
the year. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Well, my creation was to take crayons and
Oh,
glue
wow.
them to a picture frame. And so
Cool.
this took me a while because first I needed to, well, first of all, you want to get a smooth, flat picture frame. If you have something with ridges or whatever, it isn't going to work as well. Then I needed to lay out my pattern because did I want to go kind of the Roy G. Biv thing, or did I want to just do it random? Did I want the word Crayola to be upside down, or did I want them all to be right side up? Well, I couldn't get them all right side up. And then the pattern for cutting them, so again, you need an X-Acto knife, a cutting board, and just a ruler to get that going. So I used the glue then and glued that on. So you could use this for your child's school picture or just a fun family picture. So,
We can take a snapshot of Pat and put it in.
oh,
frame
that's
if you
right,
want.
we could. We
So that we
we
can- yeah.
could do that, yes. So, so did you run into any difficulties, John, when you were deciding on what you were going to do or how you put that together?
The only problem I had was trying to keep it upright and then glue the teeth. Because it's at an angle, it's hard to keep a piece of gum from falling off.
Oh, right, unless you sit there
Unless there's-
for
but- so
30 minutes.
A lot of time I had to kind of find some kind of thing to set underneath it and lift it up so it was at the right angle
Uh-huh.
to put the teeth on. That was probably the biggest challenge. And other than that, I kind of just I liked all these nubs, these tree
holes.
branch nubs. I thought they'd be perfect for an alien character like that.
Yeah, and then you added the coloration
Yeah.
to the wood to utilize all the crayons as
Yeah,
well,
because
right?
I wanted all the colors to be represented on my lizard.
Yeah. Yes, that is just amazing. That is so cool. And Thomas, any difficulties or any tips that you could share if somebody wanted to make their own?
I didn't really know how to melt them, but I knew that if I just put the crayons in the muffin tin, they'd probably get stuck there. So I used a lot of cooking spray to make it easier.
Oh, okay.
And then I found they were difficult to pop out of the tin, so I had to wait for them to cool about 10 minutes, and then they'd pretty much pop right out. But if it was still a little warm, they would be stuck in the tin. Then I used a toothpick and I swirled some, kept some as chunks, and gluing them on there, putting just enough pressure to get it up, but not too much because I cracked a few. So
That's terrific.
Yeah, that's really great. And you never know what you can find at rummage sales. So you could get creative starting from that starting point. And I know when I was researching, since I had all those bits of leftover crayons, that they said a 220-degree oven. Did you do a low oven?
225?
225 is what you did? Yeah. And the article had said if you use a silicone mold, then because it's rubber, you didn't need to spray it, and they did pop right out when I got done with those. But you can use, like you did, old muffin tins. You probably could use old cookie cutters and just set them on a cookie sheet and then add your crayons and do things that way. So we have a little bit of time left. What's your favorite crayon in the box of crayons?
in the purple? Doesn't matter
Purple?
what kind?
Just any of the
Yeah,
purples?
just any of them.
Okay. John?
I gotta go with purple too. Yeah, I like the different shades of purple, and it works well on Pat.
On
Yours.
pants, yeah.
You want a pet Pat?
It really is
Just
Pat's color.
under the right
under
there.
here,
Under here.
right?
Yeah, oh, he likes
Oh,
that.
yeah. I can see him smiling.
Yeah, he's
Current.
smiling. So
I would say my favorite colors, I remember being younger and getting the first big box of crayons. Bottle green was one that sticks out in my mind. And cerulean blue.
Ooh.
So kind of tropical colors, I guess. Do you have a favorite memory of coloring or using crayons?
I'm sure I have a memory of eating crayons, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
probably my favorite memory, but it's pretty much a requirement as a kid.
I remember I stuck one on my nose.
Up your nose?
Yeah, in grade school. Just as a joke, you know.
Right,
I
then
put
did
them
it
in
get
my
stuck
nose.
there?
Yeah, no, they did not get
Oh,
stuck, but
okay.
the teacher didn't appreciate it.
Oh, no, I'm sure she didn't. I just remember in kindergarten getting that first box of crayons. They were chubby, they were wide and kind of flat, so little hands, it made it much easier to color. There were only 5 colors, but, and the smell of
Yes.
crayons
Crayon
just
smell.
takes you right back to grade school or childhood or whatever. There's just something very distinctive about that. Well, I think we need to take another break. We're going to catch up on some commercial spots. When we come back, we've got Bill Leisses standing by in the wings, and the guys are going to learn how to chop an onion, chop and crush and mince garlic, and also we're going to cut up a chicken and a slice of pork tenderloin. So, and Pat will be here with us the whole entire time. So stay tuned, don't go away. We'll be back after the ABC News. You can
Yeah.
put it between your teeth.
Are we on? Okay.
Welcome back to a local dish. We've got Thomas and John from Break Time with us, and we also want to welcome in Bill Leisses from Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly. And so today,
Hello.
Bill is going to take us to cooking school. Now, it's not cordon bleu cooking school. It's not even Julia Child's kitchen, but it is our video room. And Bill's got some great ways that you can learn the best way to chop an onion or garlic or slice that silver membrane off of a pork tenderloin. If you want to know how to cut up a whole chicken, we'll be doing that, and also looking at ways to chop and slice and dice fresh herbs. So welcome back, Bill.
Thank you.
We saw you at the fair, and you cooked up some great things for us there. And what are you going to be? What are some of the things you're going to be showing us today?
Well, like you said, we're gonna dice an onion. We're gonna smash and mince some garlic. Cut up a chicken into 8 pieces. Do some different things with some herbs. Take some silver skin off pork tenderloin, and hopefully I'll be able to incorporate all of these things that we're doing and get the pork into the pan and make a gravy with it and a nice sauce with it with some herbs.
Okay, which we'll be able to test when we
sure,
get
we're
done.
gonna test it.
Well, we'll be able to eat after we're done today. So each of you has a cutting board. What kind of cutting boards do you recommend, Bill, for the?
I personally use a wooden one at home and those plastic, real thin ones.
Okay.
Just if I'm doing a bunch of vegetables or something, you can bend them, put them into the dish.
You can put the scraps in just, yes, or put the veggies right into your skillet or whatever, right?
I have a nice big wooden one on my counter that I like. It looks nice aesthetically and stuff. But it also works well.
And cleaning board, what do you suggest? How frequently should people do that? I mean, after every time, of course, you want to wash it, get it
You want
sanitized that way, but
hot soapy water. I'd say, once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe some bleach and some water.
okay.
Mixed. It'll get down into the grooves and get that bacteria out of them. Because when you're really working hard on a wooden cutting board, you start to get those nicks in it or those slices.
And I wanted to ask about that too, because my wooden cutting board at home I've had for quite a number of years, and it is getting lots of grooves and cuts in it. When do you know it's time to get a new one and toss that old one?
Well, you could always sand it and just
Okay.
sand it down. Another suggestion is to put some of the mineral oil on it every once in a while. That'll kind of make it look new and help with the wood.
Okay. And as far as knives, now we have not given these guys knives yet.
Not yet.
I'm not good with sharp options.
And you cut at your own risk. We're not liable for any accidents that haven't.
Quick question: Bill? Do you want a separate cutting board for vegetables and meat? Do you want to keep those two separate?
You do. Even if you're doing a beef and then going to a chicken, you don't want to cross those over. You want a separate one for that too. Beef, fish, chicken, vegetables, separate one.
Okay, so
And or wash it
Get-
and sanitize it really well. and then-
before you go on. So get us started then. Are we going to do the garlic first? Oh, they need knives, don't they?
Yes, and this is called a Santo
Santo?
knife.
Santoku.
Santoku.
Santoku. Emphasis on the middle. so-
And I'm going to use a chef knife.
Okay.
So I'll
I
start
have to do that
with the
while we're
onion.
talking.
I'm going to start with the onion.
We're following what you're doing,
Okay.
I guess, right?
I'm going to take both ends off. Yes, those are brand new, those knives. So
gonna
they're
say,
going to be
I like it.
they're going to be a little sharp.
Yeah.
Let me a little sharp. They say a sharp knife is more dangerous than a dull one. Just because, well, you're so used to, like you say at home, your knife
Yeah.
might be dull, but then you go to a sharp knife, and you're used to kind of putting that same kind of pressure on it, and it could slip and cut you. So anyway, I took both ends off. Now I'm going to slice it down the middle, or cut it down the middle. I'm going to take the skin off.
And are there tricks for, I've heard, what I like to do is put an onion in the freezer for about 10 minutes before I go to chop it and dice it, and then I don't have the watery, teary eyes when I'm cutting it. Do you have a trick that you use?
I think I've tried them all but that one, and none of them have worked.
Well, that one generally works for
Really?
me. Although sometimes I forget to take it out of the freezer after 10
Yeah.
minutes, and
The
then,
guinea soup knife, because they shred onions so fast there isn't time to cry.
oh,
Remember that?
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
commercial. Yes, yes. Oops, I keep forgetting
That's
to,
okay. I
to
really
mic.
have nothing.
So now, we're gonna go, you're gonna cut down into it, into the, I don't know if you guys can see me. And I'm gonna go about a 1/4 inch all the way across. Some people leave that root end on, see it holds it together,
Mine keeps, my slices keep coming.
getting a little bigger.
My flowers, do I slice it this way?
We're gonna go that way now,
Okay.
yep. And then you're just gonna rock down.
And you're supposed to leave the tip of your knife on the cutting board, aren't you?
Yes,
And just
rock
sort
it,
of
rock
like
it.
rock it back and forth. I don't ever cut a onion properly, but I do know that's what you're supposed to do, so.
I hope this is a 2-hour show.
That's what I said. I said, maybe we'll get through the onion in the
Yeah.
hour.
Oh, we're just, yeah, chopping her up.
And so once you have it sliced one way and then sliced crossways, then in order to get it like diced, then do you just kind of chop it all back and forth
Yes.
then, right? Okay.
And I see how these guys are holding their knives. It's always a little, and you'll have more control of the knife if you put your fingers like this. Can you see how I'm doing it?
Oh, okay.
Put it
yeah,
like
right
this,
on the knife.
and you'll have, rather than, you'll have
Oh.
much better control. Sometimes
Oh,
it
yeah.
takes a little while to get used to,
That's cool.
but you'll have more control, and then you can kind of just rock back and forth. Your thumb here, and your
Where's
finger
the
over
thumb?
the bolster here. I have my
Right
thumb
there,
on this
okay.
side, and then this other one finger down here,
Okay,
and then it kind of, you can rock back and forth.
all right.
I mean, a chef showed me that for the first time, and it took me a while, because I was, you kind of get in the habit, you have your habits of cutting and stuff, but he showed me that. It took me a while to get used to it, but now it's
Are we doing
it's
both
just like,
sides?
it's just like habit.
We do both sides, or are we just?
No,
Do
because
you want to, Brenda? We'll move on to the.
We'll move on to the
okay.
garlic,
Oh, okay.
right. Now, I don't know if can they just slide that off to the side, or can they just clear their cutting board? Because you're gonna use the onion there for your
I'll get
dish.
I'll get a pan, we can just scrape it in there.
Put-
We're gonna go to the garlic, so we can use the same board.
Okay, all right. And so with garlic, now, some recipes call for minced garlic, some for diced, some for chopped. And I know that there are different ways that you can take the,
Oh, okay.
take the skin or the ends off. So explain,
We're on to garlic?
yep, we're on to garlic. Now you have 2 nice large cloves of garlic. And if you have a recipe, oh, that onion is strong, isn't it?
It's getting a little
Woo, yeah.
Starting to get a little emotional.
If you put garlic in, if the recipe calls for garlic in the beginning, then you're going to have a more mild flavored dish. You'll just have that touch of garlic. If you put garlic in, if the recipe calls for it at the end of the recipe, then you'll find that it has a stronger garlicky flavor, right?
Other way around.
Oh, it's the other way around?
Other way around.
Forget what I said.
Little mellower
Okay,
flavor.
okay.
And also, the more you mince the garlic, the more garlic flavor you're gonna have in the dish.
Okay.
Like I was saying before, like the Italians, a lot of times they'll just crush this, rough chop it, add it to a red sauce, say, or something. Just a quick saute till it gets fragrant. Then they'll add the tomatoes and things like that, and it just imparts it with a little bit of flavor. A lot of people they go overboard
With too much.
with garlic, like an
Oh.
Italian cook, and the Italians actually just kind of this flavor just has to kind of be there, kind of a mellow
It's
flavor.
more laid back culture
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we start a garlic
So
clove?
we're gonna take the head like this, and you're gonna take your knife like this with your
Mine's all full of onion. yes.
palm. Oh, here.
Oh.
Oh, I can give you guys a towel too. So take your knife like this. You're going to smash it, kind of smash it, slide it, kind of just like this.
Is this one
Here,
of these
go.
trick
Use your-
ones?
Trick
Use like
knife.
this.
You got the trick knife,
like
John.
that.
Oh, the base of the hand.
There you go. Just careful. Yeah. Almost. Thomas says his. His is minced already.
Let's get ready by lunch.
Oh,
So then, I mean, you could work with that one. Now, just kind of, it just helps to get the skin off, peel the skin off now.
This has become a quest for me. I'm
Okay.
now,
doing this-
now you're
Fashion.
determined,
Yeah.
right?
doing it the right way, right? I don't know. Okay.
Like,
That's just what I did.
hey, we'll see. And this one was fine. And then
Oh,
you
okay.
just peel it off.
So then peel off the,
Take the skin.
take the
Take
skin,
the skin
off. Okay.
Okay.
Now you can continue to keep smashing this. Sometimes it makes it a little easier to mince.
Okay, so you keep chopping it up? Or
He's showing you up.
Yeah.
See, he's already on his way. He's on to the next step.
Oh, you've done this before, Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Possibly.
So then.
Let's just watch Tom.
Now, John.
So then you're just gonna go back and forth, like I said before, with the rocking of the knife.
Now, I have at home one of those garlic mincers, and every time I use it, I can never get it clean. So it's really best to just kind of use a good knife and smash it, or chop it, or slice it, or whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah, I've never been a real big fan of those.
Of those tools. Oh, it drives me crazy. And then I say, I'm never going to use this again. And then I think, okay, I want to really get it minced quickly, so I put it in there, and then it takes me a week to get the whole thing cleaned out again.
Food processor works well too.
Oh, sure.
Pulse it, a few times,
Sure.
especially if you're doing a lot of it.
So, and would you mostly want to use garlic minced? Is that the best way when in a recipe?
It almost most recipes call for it minced.
Okay.
I mean, there's roasted garlic I love, but that's a whole nother thing with the whole cloves and
Okay.
you can roast it.
Well, we have to take a break, and when we come back, I think we're going to trim the tenderloin next because we're running a little bit behind schedule. So we'll be back in just a few minutes with more of Local Dish. And right now, we have about 8 minutes before we head to the bottom of the hour and a news break for Bill to show us how to remove that silver part that you find on tenderloins. Bill has a pork tenderloin. First of all, Bill, what is that silver lining membrane that's in there? And is it a good idea to remove it, or can you cook it with it on?
No, you should
remove it.
definitely remove it.
Doesn't act as like a basting or
It,
something?
they say on the animal, no, on the animal, what it's there for, it's for their muscles to move
Oh.
freely, kind of back and forth, almost like it's like a protection
Okay.
Okay.
on the
But
animal.
it's kind of gristly. If you don't remove it, then it's hard to eat, right?
It gets leathery and,
Right.
and yeah,
Oh, okay.
and it also, you also remove it so, because if you're gonna marinate this or put a rub on it, the flavor's not gonna penetrate that.
Ah, okay.
So you do, that's why you do it on ribs too. There's back on like baby back ribs or something, you pull that whole skin right off of the back and then put your rub on it when you're gonna smoke the ribs or that type of thing.
Okay, so how do we start?
So I'm gonna hold it on the end and you see this, and you'll want, like, this is a boning knife. You want a knife like this and a sharp one. And you wanna just go, you can kinda see how I'm just underneath it, and just kinda slide your knife right through, and then just kind of pull this back and come back, take it off. Obviously, you want to stay away from
Pulling the meat off,
the good
right?
meat, yes.
Yes.
As much as possible. It comes off pretty quickly. There's not as much of this silver skin on a pork tenderloin as there is a
beef
a
tenderloin?
beef
Okay.
tenderloin. Beef tenderloin that's kind of hidden up in here and stuff that you need to get out. And then I always I trim, this is just a little fat, I just trim that out real quick. 'Cause
So
you
the
will- you will-
cleaner you can get that, the better,
Yeah.
right?
And sometimes you will find, like I just did there, a little bit underneath there. And that's pretty much it. Sometimes I just kind of, sorry, I'm going away from the mic here, brush this with my knife to get maybe some of this fat off or something. And that'd be ready to go to season and put on your grill.
Okay, so you're
So I'm
gonna.
gonna hand one over.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Work there, Jeff.
That was a good handoff, yes. Yeah.
Secret to cooking.
Oh, here's the knife.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah,
He'll wanna
because,
use that.
because you want to use the boning knife instead of the
Should
chef's
I close
knife.
up of the Band-Aid that I had to have because I already cut myself.
Proper use of a knife, maybe we need to do that next
Yes,
time,
we'll do
right?
that.
First aid class.
Our first aid class, right? Oh, Thomas, I think you've got that down, yes.
It's, once you get it, it's actually pretty easy.
And of course, it always helps to have the right tools. If you have a nice sharp knife
Yes.
and you're using the right kind of knife, you're going to be able to go through the process a lot quicker than a knife that's dull or the wrong kind of knife. So. And then, now you're gonna cook that as a whole tenderloin. If you were doing that on the grill, would you wanna cut it into portions or not necessarily?
You could cut it into medallions. I grill or saute pan. I like to cook it whole.
Okay.
And then you can always
You can always
cut
slice it just before
Yep.
serving, right?
Yes.
And so what you've got in there is a little bit of olive oil.
Olive oil
right?
and then just some salt and pepper on the tenderloin. We'll
Oh.
use some of those herbs that we're gonna do a little later. Put that in there. I'm gonna deglaze it with some wine, make a little gravy sauce.
Then we'll
For
share
the
the
pork
wine
tenderloin.
too?
A little bit, about a shot.
Okay.
Right, didn't Julia Child always said did she say you needed a whole bottle even if you only were using a little part of it, because part for the recipe and then the rest for yourself while you were cooking and afterwards as well. So we've covered how to chop an onion, We've also covered smashing garlic.
Yeah, we discovered that, all right.
Yes, we did. And how to trim a tenderloin, either a beef tenderloin or a pork tenderloin. And again, Bill had said you want to use a boning knife when you're doing that trimming, because that is going to allow you to get under that silver part and be able to just skim that off. You're doing
Or
a great job, Thomas.
Or a fillet knife too. I know there's a lot of fishermen out there. Even
Oh,
one
okay.
of your fishing fillet knives works really well because they're flexible.
Okay, and do either of you have any questions for Bill on anything that we've done so far?
How do you know when it's cooked all the way through? It's just, do you look for?
A lot of people ask me that. I usually can,
Yes?
on steaks, I can kind of do the touch with my finger.
Okay.
And then there's this little trick where you touch this, well done, it's, it's soft, it's
Oh.
medium rare.
Yeah, because like when I make steaks on the grill, I don't know how long to leave it on, but like medium well. I mean, but I don't want to cut into it to see how it's pink in
No,
the middle.
you could use a thermometer unless you know the little, just the little touch trick with it. And it depends on the thickness of the cut, the thickness of your steak. I could tell you, maybe an inch cut steak, medium well, probably 6 to 7 minutes per side,
Okay.
And
approximately.
I
pan
use a
fr-
charcoal grill though. Is that okay?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And pan frying a tenderloin, how long will that take to cook that, would you say, Bill?
Probably 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay, total?
Total.
Or, okay.
I'll-
So about 5 to 6 minutes on each side, you want to check it to see if it's nice and brown, and then flip it over at that time.
That's what I'm looking for, especially on the original
Okay.
turn. I want a nice little crust on it.
Well, we are going to continue our cooking process, but we do need to take a break to check in with ABC News and then get you updated on sports and weather. So we'll be back in about 7 or 8 minutes. Don't go too far, and we're going to show you how to cut up a whole chicken next. And welcome back to Local Dish. We are doing back to school cooking school. Bill Leisses has been showing us how to chop an onion, how to crush and mince garlic. We put a tenderloin in the skillet right now that is making the room smell delicious.
Thomas went to buy some wine.
So he's not here right now. We are going to.
I pulled a John.
Oh,
Cut
no.
yourself too?
Yeah, that's
I should have had everybody sign waivers before we started, saying, cut at your own risk. We are now going into the phase of cutting a whole chicken. I don't know how good that's going to be. Maybe, Bill, we need to. Maybe, will you show us how to get started? Where do we
Okay.
start when you have a whole chicken?
I'm going to start at the leg here. I'm just going to get this skin out, cut that skin. You guys can see that. And then I have a little better look inside of the chicken here. I'm going to cut it. Kind of hard to.
And again, what kind of knife are you using, Bill?
I'm using the boning knife.
The
You could
boning
use a
knife?
chef knife. You could
Oh.
use a cleaver.
Okay.
And I may switch also. Just depends how the chicken's cooperating with me.
Do they not always cooperate sometimes?
No, sometimes.
They should be cooperating.
Yes, they should.
And then you kind of pull the wing back like this. Keep pressure on it.
So you're
You see,
pulling the,
and then it kind of just, the knife will guide right down into there.
so you're pulling the wing away
Ye-
from the
yep,
body of the
kinda,
chicken
yep.
as you slice,
Just
right?
like that, yeah.
Okay.
Then it comes right off. You got the
You
wing.
usually skin the chicken after you cut them up in 4 pieces. Or
You can, I mean, you
Right,
you
well,
can
some
skin
people
them. I mean, I
don't,
just
some
do,
don't.
I leave the skin on.
Okay.
I don't
So
do
that
this.
adds to the flavor too, right? So keeping the skin on.
Definitely.
I forgot, when
I
you're
see.
talking, you have to.
Brenda hands the mic to me when I'm not talking and pulls it away when I am. The other way
I'm not
around.
very good, I'll probably get fired from this part of the job. Otherwise, hold on,
Oh, hold
you
on.
can talk.
Yeah.
Because you're not cutting and dicing and slicing right now. You're injured.
Yeah, so it was Tom.
Yeah. Good thing we're at the end of the
Yeah.
program, so.
So now, all I have is the backbone here and the top of the breast. So now I'm just gonna go
Slice right through.
Oh, yeah.
down and
Ooh.
through.
You make that look so easy. I think I tried to cut a whole chicken once. It wasn't pretty and it wasn't very good. I should mention Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly has whole chickens on sale this week. So if you want to just attempt the cutting process or try some of the things now, Bill is using the tenderloin in the skillet, but you could always put the chicken pieces in there as well and add the herbs and add the onion and the garlic and so on and come out with a great easy dish also.
Do you need your tenderloin turned, Bill? Or
Yeah,
While
you
you're
know
cutting
what, if you could.
I'll use this with the hand that doesn't have blood on it.
So you could use this, this backbone for chicken stock, to make some chicken stock. There's another way to cut it where you can cut down the back of the backbone and you wouldn't have this piece left over. This is just a little cleaner cut on everything. And then if you want, you can leave that whole with the thigh and the leg or take the thigh off.
And then do you kind of feel where that separation of the bone is before you put your knife to it, right? Right? You can see where the space is and then cut through. Well, while Bill is doing that, we need to take another quick break. We'll be back after these messages. and welcome back. We are in the final minutes of our local dish today. Hope you've been enjoying what Bill has been presenting. We have a pork tenderloin on the skillet, and he showed us earlier how to get the silver portion off so that you have a perfect tenderloin before you cook it or marinate it or whatever.
And Ninja, if you want to get a close-up shot of that, look at the similarities between this pork tenderloin and and Pat.
You know, you forgot your microphone, so that
Oh,
wasn't
no,
my...
this was my turn to
Yes,
screw
that
up.
wasn't my mistake.
Yes.
You are right, John.
Yeah, this could be Pat's son.
Right, although we
Well,
wouldn't want to... we wouldn't want to put crayons in.
No crayons
No.
in that one. We're doing fine over here.
But yes, almost all very, very similar. Bill is going to show us right now, before we end the program, slicing, chopping, and dicing herbs, and the best way to do that. Because some you want to make sure you slice, some you want to chop, and some you want to use the chiffonade process, right?
Yes.
So tell us what chiffonade is. Chiffonade, right?
Chiffonade in French means cloth or rags. Chiffon does.
Okay.
So chiffonade would be like making rags.
So like
I mean, it doesn't
almost
sound very
torn?
good in cooking, but
Is it like a torn process more rather than a?
No, it's gonna be like ribbon.
Oh, okay,
Like
okay.
ribbon. So I'll show you here. I've got some basil leaves, so I'm gonna take those and I'm gonna start to stack them, pick them off. Can stack quite a few. I'm just gonna do about 5 of them here now. You're gonna put these all together, and then you're gonna roll them like a cigar. So just roll them up.
I remember that in college, man.
A cigar.
The cigar, yeah, cigar.
And then you're going to cutting boards moving here. You're
Look at
just
that.
going to
What a pro.
slice them down like that, and you'll have these little
Nice
you have
little
these little
ribbons.
nice little
Yes.
ribbons. It makes for a fancy little garnish on things, and also obviously the flavor. And you'll get a little more basil flavor than you would if you would tear them. You know, that's another good thing is, you know,
Is
just
tearing.
tear them.
And soft herbs like basil, mint, or cilantro are good for the ribbon effect,
Not
right?
the cilantro.
Not
Sage.
cilantro?
I've got some sage here. Sage would be good.
Okay.
Mint, basil. Mint and basil go really well together, especially in like Asian dishes, some Thai dishes. As far as flavor goes, I did bring some of this. I could chiffonade those two, or you can chop it.
Okay. And chopping then, do you remove it from the stem, or do you chop the whole thing?
Nope. Remove it
From the stem, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I'll just do a quick chop on these.
And I know that when you are looking for herbs, you want to look for bright, deep green color, because that's going to assure you of freshness. And then as soon as you get them home, you should wash them under cold running water and then put them in the refrigerator. Most of them should be kept in, fresh herbs in the refrigerator.
I really don't like putting basil in the refrigerator.
Okay.
You can leave like the basil out.
Do you put it in a glass container though with
you
a little
can.
bit of water?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you how to do a little thyme, fresh thyme.
Okay.
Real quick. So
I did time once.
so you've got the sprig of thyme. So what you want to do on these is to get the leaves off the stem is where the leaves are pointing up on the stem, just kind of pinch it there. It's a real soft one. And just run your hand down it, and there you have the leaves.
Oh, okay.
So I'll throw those in the pan. On the very end, I mean, if you want to, you can take the bunch of thyme like this, because these are real soft up here. The stem is real soft up
Okay.
here. It gets a little harder down there, and you don't want to
You don't want
mince
to
that.
bite into that or mince
But
that.
if
Yep.
you did want to, you know, say you're in a hurry or something, you could just go off the very top of this. And now I'm feeling to where it's getting a little harder, so I'll stop. And then I'll just mince those up real fine. But you won't, when you're cooking with that, you won't you won't get any of the hardness of the stems down here. And then you can always take the bottom part and pull it like I did. The rest is so you're not wasting it.
Sure.
Same with rosemary. Rosemary's nice and soft up here, but with rosemary you can just pull it right out.
Oh.
And you've got it all.
And then
Just
you
like
would
that.
dice or chop that
Dice
nice
or
and
chop
fine,
it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And then I would just pinch the top off because there's really no stem up there on that end, and you've got it.
Can you
Oh, look
press
at that.
or bruise the herbs to release more flavor?
I would recommend not bruising it because it'll release its flavor like that. That's why I'd rather like maybe a scissors or pulling it. I mean, you could go like that to maybe release a little flavor. If you just wanted, like that sprig that I had, I'll throw some in here. But you could just also, if you're sauteing something like this at home, you could just put that sprig in there, and it will release some of that flavor. It won't be as pungent as if you say you mince it like this. So it'll just kind of give a little bit of a flavor to it and aroma.
Do you need me to turn the tenderloin? Or is it-
I-
I can do that for you.
I think I'm gonna take that
Oh,
out
okay.
actually, and
It's one of the few things I can do.
Okay,
Should we
we're
wait?
going to take just a quick 2-minute break, and we'll be back for Bill to show us how to do a gravy sauce and wrap everything up. And we've got about 5 minutes left of the program. Bill is working on a gravy, a sauce right now to go with that pork tenderloin. He used the onions that both Tom and John diced up, and also the garlic. He sauteed that in a little bit of oil, and he just was cooking the pork tenderloin in that olive oil along with those, with the onion and the garlic. He showed us how to chop different herbs, which also add flavor. They can lend color to your dish. And so what did you do here, Bill, with the sauce, the gravy that you're making?
I took the pork tenderloin out and put some flour in there with the fat, the fat was the olive oil that I used. I deglazed the pan with some red wine, and that's just getting they call it the fond, or the brown bits of like goodness, I always like to call it. It could be from a vegetable, could be from protein, and scrape that off of the bottom because that just gets the sauce or the gravy a really good flavor.
Okay.
And I learned this morning too that You can have a little bit of pink in the middle for pork. That whole worrying about getting sick if you have undone pork is pretty much gone by the boards.
Yeah.
So you can eat it medium or medium well or well done
I
if you
did
like.
not know that.
Now, I noticed, Bill, you use chicken stock for the broth.
I did.
Why chicken and not a veggie or beef? Or was there any reason for that? Or
You could,
You trying to start an argument?
about chicken stock?
you could definitely use vegetable stock. You could use a beef. You could also use a red wine or a white wine rather than a red wine. This red wine has some plum flavor to it, some cherry flavors. Cherries go well with pork. That's why I kind of chose and plums go well with pork. So that's why I chose the red wine. But you could use white also. You could also do a mixture. I always said if people don't have a pork stock, do a mixture of beef and a mixture of chicken stock, and it kind of gives you that pork flavor.
All right, well, hopefully you have learned a lot today. Remember, if you want to go back and check on some of these techniques a little bit later on this afternoon, you can go to dailydodge.com, click on the video tab, and on demand you'll be able to view the entire show today, or if you just want to pick up portions of, now, how again did they chop that onion or skin that pork tenderloin, you can take a look at that. Any last thoughts, Thomas?
Make sure you're ready to clean your knives with care.
Okay.
I echo that one.
Well, and I would say make sure if you have brand new, very sharp knives that you should be very cautious.
Don't run fast.
Don't run fast
Don't
and
get-
don't chop fast. Just take it nice and slow
Yeah.
and easy.
I gotta
So-
take Pat for a walk anyway. so
Oh,
don't
yeah.
worry.
And I suppose he'll want some of the,
Yes,
the
he-
tenderloin.
he
Is
doesn't eat his own, no.
Is he a carnivorous?
He's
Uh,
a vegan.
He's a vegan.
Yeah.
Well, then he'll just want to chomp on the onion maybe.
Yeah, the onion would be
leftover onion.
perfect for him.
Okay.
Her, I'm
Bill, we want to thank Bill Leisses from Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly and Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly.
Thank you, Bill.
Again, you always share some great tips with us, and we can get lots of good information. You can stop in at Beaver Dam Piggly Wiggly for those tenderloins. And if you don't want to go through the process of trimming your beef or pork tenderloin, ask the butchers behind the meat counter because they can do that for you, right?
They also have some great pork tenderloins ready to go that are already marinated.
Okay.
Just the silver skin's off and they're flavored, they're marinated, they're ready to go.
All right, well, we will send it back to you, Kale. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to this local dish.